Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jenna and today I am going to be finally doing the Beauty and the Beast book tag, which was created by Krista over at BooksandJams, and she tagged me in this several weeks ago, and I filmed this tag a few weeks ago, and then I watched it and I didn't really like how it turned out, so I just deleted it, and now I am finally refilming it after I've already seen the movie and everything. So yeah, Beauty and the Beast is my favorite fairy tale, my favorite Disney movie. I absolutely adore Belle, so I, of course, have to do this tag. So let's just get into it. The first question is about Belle. She just wants more than her provincial life. Share a book that takes you to another place, and I am choosing The Little Paris Bookshop by Nina George. I read this in 2015 and I really, really enjoyed it. It is about a man who owns a book shop that is actually on a barge, so it's really a book barge on one of the rivers in Paris, and basically he is called the literary apothecary, and he makes it his mission to assign books to the perfect person, or put the perfect book with the perfect person that really needs that story. The story itself did turn out to be something different than what I thought it would be. I thought it would be a light and fluffy, kind of like a chick lit novel, but it was a lot more than that. It went a lot deeper than I expected, and I just really enjoyed it. I think I ended up giving it 4 stars, just because it kind of dragged on a little bit, but nevertheless, it did end up taking me to a far off place, and that being France. And it was just a really great story, and I highly recommend it if you love books about books or just wanted some book that's going to take you to an exotic place. Well, Paris, if you count that being exotic. Anyway, the second question is about Beast. He can be a bit scary, but inside he's a softie. Choose a book whose cover does not match the story. And I am going with Where the Heart Is by Billy Letts. I would show you my copy of it, which is identical to the picture that I'm going to insert, but it's packed away in a box right now. I thought the story was a lot cuter and a lot sweeter, just generally more beautiful than this cover right here. I just think it deserves just a cover redesign, and just because I just really like the story. It is about a 17, I think she's 17, a teenager named Novalee Nation, and if you've seen the movie, you're familiar with the story already. She is a girl who winds up being pregnant as a teenager and who is abandoned by her boyfriend in the parking lot of a Walmart, and she ends up living in the Walmart and ends up having her baby in the Walmart, and it's just this really quirky, heartwarming story just about friendship and love. I read it a long time ago and I saw the movie a long time ago, but I just really ended up loving that story. But the cover is just not very pretty in my opinion. The next question is about Maurice, Belle's eccentric but loving father. Choose a book that it was out of your comfort zone, but you ended up loving it. And I've used this for similar questions on tags before, but I'm just going to use it again, and that is Nimona by Noelle Stevenson. This was one of probably the first graphic novel that I really liked. So I consider graphic novels to be out of my comfort zone, so I'm choosing Nimona for this one because I really did end up loving it. And if you're looking for a graphic novel to kind of get into the format of graphic novels, this would be a really good one. The next question is about Mrs. Potts, the nurturing and motherly character. Choose a character who takes care of others like a mother might. And I'm going with Mrs. Fairfax from Jane Eyre, and she really is just like Mrs. Potts. She is the housekeeper of Thornfield Hall in Jane Eyre, and she really just takes Jane under her wing and really just gives her motherly advice when Jane really needs it, and just kind of bonks her over the head a couple of times and is just the person who's there for her to be like, Jane, what are you doing? This isn't you, in a couple of situations. So I just really like Mrs. Fairfax just because she's down to earth and just so caring. The next question is about Chip. He's adorable and makes us smile. Choose your favorite children's book. And I'm going with a picture book, and it is called The Kissing Hand by Audrey Penn. I absolutely adore this book. It is my favorite picture book of all time, or at least out of the ones that I've read so far. And it is about a little raccoon named Chester who is nervous to go to school for the first time. And by school, I mean like a little school that the owl runs in the forest and all the little baby forest animals go to. It's just beyond adorable. adorable. Anyway, he's nervous to go to school, and so his mom pulls him aside and asks him to hold out his hand, and she places a kiss in the palm of his hand, and she said, if you get nervous throughout the day at your new school, just put your hand up to your cheek and imagine me kissing your cheek, and just know that I'll be with you. And I just love that so much. I think it's adorable, and I've always wanted to pick it up and just own it, but since I don't have kids yet, I generally don't feel the need to pick up picture books. But I can definitely see myself buying that for my kids in the future. I just absolutely love it. And if you have kids, I would highly recommend it if you don't own it already. The next question is about Gaston. He's smarmy and arrogant. Choose a character who's over the top with their arrogance. And I am going with Dally from The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. He's not, I mean, he is arrogant, but not really in a bad way. He can kind of come across that way, but inside he really does have a good heart. So if you're familiar with The Outsiders, you totally know what I'm talking about. Dallas is kind of like one of the ringleaders of the greasers, and he's just completely over the top, but still with a good heart. If you are unfamiliar with The Outsiders, basically it's set in the late 1950s in the Midwest. I believe it might be in Oklahoma. But anyway, it follows these two groups of teenagers in this town. One are called the Greasers, and one is called the Socs. And it's basically the popular rich kids versus the poor kids from the other side of town who are just they get involved with all kinds of trouble with the police and gangs and everything. And it's just basically those two sides clashing. And it's just about friendship and loyalty and love, and I just really love it. I think it's considered the first young adult novel in America. I've heard that before, but it was required reading for me in middle school, and I've loved it ever since I read it then in middle school for the first time. So if you haven't read it, it would be a short, quick read, and it's just definitely unforgettable in my opinion, and I'd really like to reread it soon, actually, now that I'm talking about it. Anyway, next question. It's about Lumiere, smooth-talking, swoon-worthy Casanova. Choose a character with these characteristics. And I'm going with Thorn from the Lunar Chronicles. You mainly see him in Cress, which is the third book in that series by Marissa Meyer. And I just think he's the perfect Lumiere. He's always joking. He's never really serious, never takes anything too seriously. And he just lightens the mood in every situation. So as soon as I saw that question, I just thought of him. The next question is, actually this is the last question, and it's about Cogsworth. He's the bossy, no-nonsense head of household. Choose a character who takes charge and is the voice of reason for those around them. And I'm going with Parvana from A Man Called Uwe, or Uwe. I'm still not 100% positive how you pronounce that. I've heard many different pronunciations. But I read the book, I think it was in December of last year. It was one of my best books of 2016. If you haven't read it, please do. It's so, so good. I've already raved about it enough. It's just incredible. I read the book and I also watched the movie, which is just as good as the book. And basically, Parvana is the new neighbor of Uwe, the main character in the story, who's a grumpy old man. Parvana moves in with her young family, and she's very, very pregnant, and she just kind of barges into Uwe's life without his permission, and she just completely changes his world, and also her family too. Yeah, and she just kind of brings this light into his life that was missing since his wife had passed away. And she is completely no nonsense. She just kind of, again, bonks him over the head sometimes, and is just like, hey, like, wake up, there are people around you who might need your help and who still need you. And it's just a wonderful story. And so as soon as I read that description of Cogsworth, I instantly thought of her. So that was the Beauty and the Beast book tag. I'm not 100% sure who's done this tag so far. I'll tag a couple people down below once I figure out who in like our little booktube community hasn't done this yet, and I'll definitely tag you guys. But if I don't officially tag you and you want to do this because you love Beauty and the Beast, please do and consider yourself tagged by me. And I will also link Krista's channel down below as the original creator of the tag. And thank you so much, Krista, for tagging me. So I will see you guys very soon in my next video, and I hope you guys are having a lovely day. Bye!